wanted to let you all know that next week we'll be starting the Falling for Spring series. So please join us for that. We'll have episodes
from overseas
and episodes here at home in Adelaide.
We'll have special guests. Some episodes won't have me, some episodes won't have you, some will have the wives in them.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Lots of different stuff, mixing it up, and that goes till mid-November.
Yeah, so we hope you'll join us all for Falling for Spring. Bye!
Oh, this is a show that we made for you, for your mom and your dad and your aunties too. So grab yourself a coffee, it's a crack of dawn, and strap yourself in for a Heaps good morning.
It's another Heaps Good Sunday morning, and yet again we're here to delight and entertain.
And inform, but only on stuff about us.
We're being very self-indulgent.
Oh yeah, it's all about us today.
Isn't it always about us, really, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is.
It's whatever we want to do. Start your own YouTube channel if you don't like it.
So, what are we up to on this fine Sunday morning?
Well, I'm going home to the States soon.
Yes, yeah.
And this time of year especially, because the fall is it's not fall here in Australia, but it's fall in America, which is my favorite time.
We don't have fall. I don't even know what that is.
Autumn. It's between,
awesome. Yeah.
It's between summer and winter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In the States, it's, around October, which is like my birthday and Halloween and stuff like that. So I always get really nostalgic, and I always think about my childhood times and stuff like that. So I thought that maybe today we would just do a top 5 of our favorite childhood things plus a bonus. So it's really 6, but top 5. And what did we do? We did toy, snack, games, TV, movie, and then a freebie of whatever you wanted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to get into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright.
Toys.
Now, when I think of my childhood where I was most content, I think of, probably 6 to 11, that 5-year period, just before you found out that kids at school judged you, and people looked at you funny if you didn't wear the right clothes and stuff like that. Back then, that's just on the cusp of kids getting crushes and stuff like that. And so when I was 6 to 11, it was 1985 to 1990.
And 1985 was the year that I was born. So we're just a couple of years apart.
Yeah, all right. But earlier we were talking about it, and you said that when you think of your happy childhood times, it was what'd you say, 8 to 12?
Yeah.
Which was in the 90s.
Yeah,
1993 to 1997.
The 97, yes, 97.
Yeah.
98 was the first year I started high school, year 8.
97 was the year I graduated high school. So our lists are going to be very different, because mine's 85 to 90 and yours is 93 to 97. I think it's funny that the part of my life that I consider my total innocent childhood was 6 to 11, because I'm a girl, and after that I was forced to grow up. But boys are just, happy-go-lucky, 8 to 12. But, yeah, anyway. So this will be interesting, because we're very different ages and they're very different times.
Yeah.
So who's going to start?
Well, do you want to start?
Well, we'll start with toy. You want to do that?
Okay, yeah.
So what I did was I went, around 6 and leading up, my favorite toy to play with was He-Man. Because I don't know why, I have no idea, but I had all this stuff. I was a dirt player, I loved being outside, and for some reason I loved He-Man and She-Ra and Skeletor and the Castle of Grayskull and all that stuff, and so my parents got it for me. I wasn't overly tomboyish, it's just what I liked.
Yeah.
And so I loved He-Man, and that's when we lived way out in the country, and it was a different environment. But then by the time I was 11, we had moved to the city, and I had evolved, I guess. And I was trying to think of toys that I played with, but I didn't really play with toys by the time I was 11. I was right into reading and music and anything art and crafts. So I had that super typical, I saw a photo the other day, and it was if you were a kid in the 90s and you didn't have this art kit you know, you were a nobody or whatever. And I totally had that art kit. In fact, I can remember I got it for Christmas from my Uncle Harry. Me and my cousin got one. But I had all kinds of shit. I had like a rock tumbler.
Yep.
It was loud as. My mom banished it to the garage. I had like a wood burning kit that came with bits of leather and cork and little wood placards. I had all kinds of shit like that. Like I was right into all of that stuff from pretty early on. And nothing's changed. I like totally love arts and crafts. I'm super nerdy like that.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite toy?
My
I already know this because it's been living around the studio.
Yeah, it has been living around the studio. Ah! So I was a massive fan growing up of the Power Rangers. So
that's from the Power Rangers.
These are from the Power Rangers.
Oh.
This is the Megazord from the Power Rangers, and all the little bits and pieces all go together. It's been in a couple of episodes in the past.
So it kind of ripped off Transformer.
It did. It very much did.
But Transformer was like 10 years before that, wasn't it? Because I was
at least, yeah. And look, I've always really enjoyed playing with this toy because, you know, I could play with it all as one, or I could play with the pieces individually, and then there was
quantity.
There was two or three different types of things that you could make out of this one play set. So this used to be one of my absolute favourite toys of all time, and he is fantastic, and I do love him. I got him when I was 9 years old. And
he'd be worth a bit. How wouldn't he?
He is worth a bit.
Too bad you took him out of the package. Unlike that Child's Play doll that I've been wanting you to take out for ages.
Yeah, well, because I had it when I was so young, I didn't think about, you know, the collectibleness of it. So I just took it out.
Collectibles are weird.
Yeah, well, my brother-in-law, he's a collector, and he actually has the old He-Man doll, and there was a tiger or something that he was on?
He-Man rode it. I think it was a tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Skeletor rode a purple panther.
That's
or
so
something
sweet.
like that. Yeah, Skeletor was a bit camp. He was. Like you look at some of the old cartoons. He's a bit camp. I remember I was devastated because I had a She-Ra, but I left it in the dirt and somehow a dog got a hold of it. Or adversely, I didn't have a She-Ra and I found one and I was stoked when I dusted the dirt off her face, but then I pulled her out and the dog had chewed her up. I don't really remember. I was very young. It was like 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did boys play dress up?
I wasn't a usual boy. I grew up in a household with three sisters that were all older than me. So we had a massive dress up play costume bin.
You were a kid in the 90s, so was your dress ups like that your sisters had and you had stuff, were they trademarked?
No, they were actually...
See, mine weren't either.
My sisters used to do calisthenics when they were younger.
There were dance costumes and
so
stuff?
there was a lot of dance costumes involved.
My mom was quite the fashion plate and was very, 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 very skinny in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like model skinny, too skinny. And then, you know, she got married and we moved out to the country and she put on a bit of weight or whatever. So I had like Issey Miyake pantsuits to play dress up in, and I'll never forget I chopped up my mom's, the outfit she got married in. It wasn't a wedding dress because my mom was way too individual to get married in a wedding dress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally chopped it up, and I remember being like, why would you chop that up? And I was like, it was in the dress up box. Like, hello. I was going to be the queen of the jungle or something. Like, I always wanted to be this like wild woman that was running through the woods and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Anyway. Well, what's next? What was your favourite snack in your childhood?
Well, my favourite snack was, no, I didn't get them very often because they were expensive. They weren't expensive really, but, you know, I grew up in a large family with a small income, so we didn't get those fancy things very often. But Mammy noodles, which were something, they were like 2-minute noodles.
Yeah.
But no one ever, I don't know anyone that ever actually boiled them and had them as normal noodles.
I had never seen anybody eat, in the States we'd call it ramen noodle.
Yeah.
I had never seen anybody eat ramen noodle raw until I moved to Australia.
Yeah.
Like, it's the weirdest thing. But now I do it on occasion. I'll just be like, oh, fancy a pack of noodles, and I'll go and get the ramen noodles out.
Yep.
Now, sorry, I still have that lingering cough because I've got the consumption. Now, I forgot to say when we started this is the stuff that we miss, that they don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Or something that, you know, that we got.
or they come back from time to time and then go missing off the shelves
Yeah,
again.
like those ketchup chips.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
we
big
didn't
red.
have those in the States.
Yep.
And so when I first came here, it was like, I was like, what?
Yeah,
So,
it's weird because I always thought the tomato sauce chips were actually really oddly nice.
I like the, what are they called? A Samboy, Atomic Tomato.
Oh yeah,
I like those better
yep.
than the big red ones. They're tangier, I
Yep.
think. But I grew up in a household that didn't often get junk food and stuff like that. But not, I mean, we were, you know, it's America in the South. Everybody was poverty stricken back then. But, you know, my parents had just bought their first house and stuff. But I grew up eating organically for the most part. I mean, for lack of a better word, organically, we ate a lot of health foods and stuff. Because my dad almost died of colon cancer.
Yeah.
When I was like a year old he was very, very sick. And so my family changed the way me and my parents, because I'm an only child, changed the way we ate. So like I didn't get like all of that coming of age stuff. Like my era was like Lunchables and Doritos and stuff like that. I didn't really get any of that until I was older. But it's not really a snack. It was like a treat for me. But for some reason, I really loved the big. Now you probably won't remember this, but it was a thing in the 80s to get really big, oversized gummy stuff.
Yeah.
So, and for some weird reason, my favorite was a gummy rat, which, ironically, still really like big, giant, oversized rats. And I didn't gorge on candy and stuff. I like hoarded it.
Yeah.
Until the ants would eat it, and then I'd be devastated. But I remember one year, my mom worked in like a gourmet candy shop, and so my mom got me this giant. Of course, to me back then it was like this big. It wouldn't have been. I was a little kid, but a giant pink gummy rat, but like not see-through pink like gummies now. It was like milky pink. It was bubblegum flavored. Man, that shit was the tits. I loved it, and I probably would have only been 5 or 6, but I remember thinking, this is the life. Look at this. This is as big as my head. Gummy rat. It's so cool. But yeah, that was my favorite, and I also really liked frozen yogurt in the 80s because it tasted like yogurt. It didn't taste like ice cream. I probably didn't like it back then because I had to have it instead of ice cream.
Yeah.
But we used to go to this like stinky health food shop, and they always had peach frozen yogurt, and it was so good. But it was my ice cream, so yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite. Not really snack, I guess treat. Because I had boring snacks. Because, you know, the cancer.
Guys.
So, what's next? Game?
I put I used a console because I was very being very boy at that point. Being very boy at that point in time. I went through my Barbie phase when I was a bit younger.
Barbies were cool though.
They were.
Cool clothes.
But then I got lots of boyfriends, so it became video games and stuff. And back in that day, was Nintendo 64 was one of my biggest ones. It had some of the best games around at that point in time.
This is really funny. God, the time frames are so different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's it? Nintendo 64?
Nintendo 64, it had Mario 64 on it, which was an amazing game, and some of the earlier wrestling games, because that, I guess, when wrestling became really, really big.
I think wrestling was big in the 80s.
Yeah, but
it may have trickled down to Australia by then.
Yeah, that might have been a thing. Because I had some friends that were watching wrestling, but it came into, I guess, more mainstream. In that point in time, there was heaps of video games for it and stuff like that. So, and it was I feel it was at the point in the Nintendo, like, Mario franchise and stuff like that, its best days. They were creating, I think, the best games that they've ever created for Mario and Donkey Kong and things like that back in that era. People would argue that Donkey Kong from Super Nintendo was better. And that's good for you. I can totally go for that. But it did actually have some good Donkey Kong games on 64 as well.
Well, I wouldn't know. Because I didn't have them and didn't really dig them. Although, this is going to crack you up.
Okay.
My grandparents, I don't even know how, my grandfather's always kind of been into technology, like my mom's parents. Well, my mom's mom and stepdad. For some weird reason, my grandfather got an Atari.
Yeah.
And I think it was for me and my cousin Zach to play. And it wasn't like outdated. It was like, 1985. So, but we only got to play it when we were there, and for the longest time, I don't know if we broke the joystick or if you didn't get a joystick at first, but we had to use the arrow buttons on a keyboard. And I remember it had a MASH 4077 themed game, and that cartridge had 2 games on it. One of them was like a tanks battlefield kind of like Battlestar Galactica kind of thing. The tanks would roll back and forth, and but that's not the one I played. There was one that was like Operation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you had to use the things, and if you, it actually looked a lot like the Operation guy, but without the bright red nose or whatever. But it, you know, it had the same kind of bits, you know, butterflies in the tummy and stuff. But if you dropped it or you touched the sides, he would go Butterfingers, like real cranky.
Yeah.
So that probably is where I got my love for MASH 4077.
Yeah.
And I also, that must have started my love affair with stationery, because I loved all of those cheesy games that girls played. You know, the cootie catchers and the fortune tellers and the MASH. Did y'all play a game called MASH?
No, I'm not.
I'll put a picture of it up. Well, I'll put pictures up of all this stuff. But this is what MASH was. And it was like a game you'd sit down with your friends and play it, and you'd find out who you were going to marry and what kind of house you were going to live in, and how many kids you'd have and what kind of car you drive and all that stuff.
So we used to really like paddocks, where you have a whole heaps of dots
and you do
in the grid, and you've got to do lines. And
any of those kind of games. I loved them. Any paper games. I love stationery, so it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm going like 6 to 11. Like I got, all of my friends were like keeping journals and slam books and stuff like that, but that wasn't my thing. Yeah. My thoughts are from me. And they're quite weird most times, so I didn't need them in writing. What's next? TV. Oh man, TV.
So I know this one for me is only relevant in Australia because it was an Australian TV show.
Yeah.
Cheese TV with Jade and Ryan. Now it wasn't a TV show as such. It was a capper. You know, so
I'm gonna look it up.
You're going to look it up?
There'll be some of it on YouTube. I'll look it up.
Yeah. And it was basically what they did is they'd do intros to, you know, Biker Mice from Mars, and then they'd come back and do a little segment.
Biker Mice from Mars?
Biker Mice from Mars.
Is that a cartoon?
Yeah. I
feel
loved
like I've seen it.
And then they'd do a little segment and they'd go cut away and they'd do, I don't know, Batman or something like that. They'll put on a Batman cartoon
Were they a morning show?
Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it was getting ready for school TV show.
Yeah.
And they were really funny, and they've had, more recently, everyone's been saying we want to bring back Cheese TV. I know they do, Jade and Ryan do a podcast now, and they were talking about redoing
How
Cheese
old would
TV.
they be now, if you had to guess?
Well, if I had to guess, they would have been in their 20s when I was, when I was a young teenager.
How funny.
So yeah, but they're trying to bring back Cheese TV apparently.
It will never be the same.
No, well the thing is,
I've never even seen it, but I'm telling you right now, it won't be the same.
Yeah, well they don't know whether to bring it back for children or to bring it back for the older generation that watched it initially when they
Would
first
you still watch it?
Well, I think these days they'd have to change the programs that they put in it, I would think, to make them a little bit more adult friendly.
Yeah, probably.
Because you'd think
do all those weird adult cartoons that you people watch.
Yeah, because look, they could do it with the old TV shows, but then I think we only like them for nostalgia reasons, and if we start watching them, I think we'd just go, oh, this isn't as good as we remember it.
Yeah, I have a DVD at home of like cartoons from when I was a kid that Robin ordered for me, because on my weekends off, I used to get really cranky because I'd get up. We don't watch TV, obviously. You know that.
Yeah.
But I'd get up in the morning. I'd want like a bowl of cereal, and I'd want to sit in my pajamas and under a blanket on the couch, and I'd want to watch those terrible old, you know, Porky Pig kind of cartoons. Yeah. And it just isn't an option here. And so Robin ordered me a DVD, and I just saw it the other day, and I was like, my cartoon DVD! So I've got the weekend off this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
And then she realises how shit it is.
I think they're great. So a lot of them are misogynistic and racist and all that stuff, but very violent, but yeah.
You have to look past it. It's a different time period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, my TV show has always been and will always be Pee-wee's Playhouse. I was a Pee-wee fan. I still am. I love Pee-wee. That's why I have the red bow tie on my hand. I love Pee-wee Herman. And thank God for Netflix, man. because he's got Pee-wee's Playhouse on Netflix. You can watch a couple of his movies on Netflix, and he made a new movie. I was so excited. It's really great. It's got Joe Manganiello in it.
Joe Manganiello.
Joe Manganiello, whatever his name is.
Yep.
You know, Alcide from True Blood.
Yep.
But I loved Pee-wee, and I used to watch it in the mornings with my dad, and there used to be this cartoon called Dungeons and Dragons. And it was a Hanna-Barbera. And I
remember those cartoons.
It was the Hanna-Barbera ones.
Yeah.
They were good. Wasn't He-Man a Hanna-Barbera?
I think it might have been. If I go from animation quality, I would say that probably is.
Or like that. So yeah, end all be all. Pee-wee's Playhouse. I could watch all day long. I watch it now. I've never outgrown Pee-wee. I love him.
Yep.
I will be getting more Pee-wee themed tattoos.
Excellent.
Before I die.
I've always wondered what the bow was on your hand, so now I know.
It's Pee-wee's bow tie.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love him.
I thought it was supposed to be a more feminine, like, hair bow or something. I didn't realise. Well, I should have realised.
Yeah.
I really should have.
Wait a minute, reel it in a little bit. But yeah, so that was my nostalgic TV show. I just remember getting up and being really stoked because you'd hear the beginning of the dun 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 dun, and I'd be like, yes, it's Pee-wee! But yeah, everyone was like, oh, he's a kitty fiddler. I'm like, no, that's actually not what happened. Like, Paul Reubens is not a kitty fiddler. He was totally set up. And if you want to watch some real quality, like Paul Reubens acting, he's the vampire that dies for like 20 minutes in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Yeah. The original movie that the series is based on. And it just cracks me up. He's so sarcastic. But anyway.
I loved that movie.
Oh yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie.
I preferred the movie over the series.
Me too. I never really got into the series.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, or?
I guess. I wasn't really into it.
Yeah, me either.
But the movie was ace.
Yeah, the movie was fantastic.
And Paul Reubens, so.
Yeah. So,
movies. Alright, so next is movies.
Yep.
Am I going first?
Yeah, sure, you go first.
Well, it's no secret that I am a lover of all things puppet and Muppet. Jim Henson was just an amazing creative mind and just amazing soul, and I just loved the Muppets, and I still love the Muppets. So back during that time, 1985 to 1990 was like, you know, you had Labyrinth, you had Dark Crystal, you had all the Muppet movies, you know. I loved all of that stuff. Anything fantasy. I was really into fantasy when I was younger. I mean, like, really into fantasy. But so yeah, all things fantasy with puppets or Muppets. So yeah, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, all of that stuff. It was great.
I have to say, Labyrinth and Dark Crystal were two of my favourites from a slightly younger time. But two movies I still watch to this day. I'm trying to get Ali to watch Dark Crystal with me, but she doesn't know if she'll like it or not. But I'm gonna make her sit down.
She's not gonna know till she tries.
Well, that's exactly right. Because she said, "I don't think I'm gonna like the Labyrinth." Sat down and watched it. And she's like, "This is fucking fantastic."
How could you not? That was me dying.
Yeah.
That's taps. I'm dead. How could you not like the Labyrinth? Oh man,
yeah, it was just somehow not a part of her childhood, which I found really odd.
It's so peculiar. Labyrinth is timeless.
Yeah, like definitely.
Anyway, I don't want to go on and on about the magic of David Bowie in a cod sack, or you know, all of the Jim Henson creations that were in all those movies, the fiery. Anyway. Oh, Bluto. Anyway, I'm just going to stop right now. The Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and all the Muppet movies and the Muppets Take Manhattan.
That was another one of my favourites too, actually.
Good. Moving on.
Alright, so mine was Basketball, which is by Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
I was an adult when that came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's weird.
Well, I was never allowed to watch such filth in my house. It was just not on. So
your family, because
they're
Christianese, yeah.
So I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, let alone South Park. So I used to sneak away to my friends' houses on the weekend, and we'd watch naughty movies. And one of our naughty movies was Basketball.
That is fairly raunchy if you're not allowed to watch it at home. Basketball,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a raunchy movie.
Freebie.
What was that? Freebie?
Yeah, because we've done movies,
Yeah.
we've done TV, we did snacks and toys and games. What else is there?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, music, but that's kind of timeless. Like, if you liked something back then, you probably still like it a bit now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Karma Chameleon used to make me cry, side note.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it really broke my heart when I was a little kid. I was quite a sensitive little girl. So yeah, anyway.
Oh, Queen. Queen was kind of my music of...
Fucking love Queen.
Yeah. Queen's always...
Greatest rock band of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
I hands down can easily say greatest rock band of all time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Queen. Freddie Mercury. Anyway,
So-
moving on.
For my freebie, I've gotten old wooden play equipment, which we don't really see around anymore.
You don't.
No.
The stuff kind of made out of railroad ties or treated pine and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I know the local councils in Adelaide, in particular, those got rid of them years ago because of liability and things like that. So they got rid of them all and replaced them with metal because they thought that'd be better.
In Australia,
Yeah.
oh, me biscuits are burning.
Yeah, that's what... don't get
Jeepers
that.
creepers.
And I got rid of splinters, so you didn't get splinters anymore, but then you got electric shocks.
Who dies of a splinter?
Oh, I don't know.
Nah.
You have to be letting it go pretty
Soft.
badly.
Our kids are getting soft.
They are. So
I loved old wooden jungle gyms.
yeah,
And the ones with like the real big elaborate bridges.
yeah,
They'd be like, by the time you got to the end of it, you'd be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. They were great. A friend of mine lives in Banksia Park, and there's
Yep.
a couple of wooden, you know, those little wooden playgrounds where it's like a football field or whatever, and you're like, hey, what's that weird 3 little pieces of play equipment? There's some wooden ones there.
What my old I drove past my old primary school a few days ago, and I see what they've done there recently is they've redone their play equipment, took out all their metal play equipment that they put in while I was there, and they've now replaced it with, they're going back to wood, and
Isn't it that press wood though? It's like reconstituted wood?
No, they are using old tree branches, and they have made this play equipment out of all these old tree branches.
I wonder if they use the trees that the council removes. Like, council's been removing heaps of trees and like
Yeah.
medium strips and stuff lately for the NBN and whatnot. I wonder if they're using those. That'd be great.
I
if
would
they
hope
were.
so, yeah.
Well, my freebie was everything that smelled. Now this, because your time frame, 93 to 97, is a bit different from my time frame. In the 80s, for a long time, there was this real huge trend of everything being smelly.
Yeah.
So, like, not bad smelling, although there was some stuff. So you had your scratch and sniff stickers, which ranged from popcorn to fart,
Yep.
or skunk
Erasers.
or whatever. Yeah, you could buy little erasers. They were like Asian import erasers that looked like all different kinds of things, but whatever they looked like, they smelled like.
Yep.
And there was like markers that smelled and dolls that smelled, and you know,
Strawberry shortcake dolls. I always used to love the smell of strawberry shortcake dolls.
they did smell good. I had a doll called a Jelly Belly when I was very little, like 3 or 4, and it was just like not like a glowworm, but it just kind of had a very kind of amoebic shape,
Yeah.
and then a plastic face, but whatever color it was, what it smelled like, and I had a purple one, and it smelled so strongly of fake grape,
Yeah.
or maybe blueberry, that my mom banished it to outside because my mom's sensitive with smells. Meanwhile, I'm like, I would smell anything all day long.
Did your mum take half your toys outside, did she? Because you've already mentioned that was outside, the
No.
old rock tumbler.
That was in the shed because it really was like, and you'd have to run it for like 5 days. It was so loud. But that was in the shed. But no, the Jelly Belly, and the Jelly Belly was way before that.
Yeah.
It was so strong that she was like, I'm sorry, you scammed in the house. But like all my other stuff that smelled good was fine, but that Jelly Belly just really made her sick.
Yeah.
It made her sick to her stomach. But yeah, everything smelled, you know. I love the scratch and sniff stickers because every now and then you get one that was like pizza.
Yeah.
Or something like that was savory and not sweet. Pickle. I loved them.
You know, I probably could have used a few of those things just hanging around my bedroom, just because, you know, young teenage prepubescent boys taking off their shoes and things like that. It's not a nice smell. So it would have been nice to have a few of
I'm
those
not sure if
things.
you got out of that crusty phase.
I'm not sure if I did either. I know you made a comment about it the other week.
I think I make a comment about it probably every other episode about you being so crusty.
It's not me, it's the girls, I swear.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, lots of great stuff from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Makes you kind of wish you were a kid again. You didn't know all the horrible things about the world you know now.
Yeah.
Life
yeah.
was simpler then, you know? Good times. Alright, we've chewed your ear off enough. We're done reminiscing.
We have.
This is only fun for us, you know.
Yeah, well, I know other people will hopefully find it interesting. And if you did, comment down in the comment section below, because we really appreciate to find out, you know, what you like, so we can do more of that in the future.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Our future is at your nostalgic little fingertips.
Alright, well, thank you for joining us again on this week's episode.
Hey, what are we doing next week?
Next week, I don't know, what are we doing next week?
I gave you the calendar.
I put the calendar away, so I've totally
Back
forgotten.
there behind Charles. But anyways, we're doing what the actual
We're doing what the
Is that
actual...
next week?
I think so.
I think it is.
If not, we'll edit this section out and you'll never see it.
Yeah. But I think it's what the actual
Yeah, I think so.
and the weird randomness that is the internet wormhole.
Yep, so that should be fun.
That'll be fine.
Alright, we'll see you all next week. Bye.